Well, Sam, big thank you for joining us. First things first, how's the squad after the Tuesday night game as we head towards Chesterfield?
Yeah, I think you look at the positives from the game. I think obviously with the new signings that we've made, and I think it was really important for Josh Chesterfield to come in and get minutes under his belt. Delighted with his performance, really positive. And you're just looking around, making sure that the rest of the group make sure that they get those minutes into the legs going into what's going to be a really, really big weekend at Chesterfield. Not just because it's Chesterfield, but just because it's the next game in the league fixture, and we want to kick-start our season.
Just speaking about Josh, his performance was very good on Tuesday night, and that does bode very well.
Yeah, really, really pleased with his performance. I think when you look at obviously where he's come through, and you look at the season that he had last year at Crewe. When he was involved in a playoff push there, so that experience for a young lad as well is vital for where we want to get to as well. So you're looking at his performance and how he sort of commanded the middle of the park, getting on the ball, making things happen against a good side, by the way. Like Port Vale had a lot of their experienced lads out who were just, again, similar, getting their minutes in as well. So we're really delighted at his performance, and I think if you look at that middle of the pitch now with Ash, Tyrese and Josh, we've got really good, strong competition for places for those holding positions.
And I think Tuesday night's game came probably a bit too early in the season. But how handy was it to get Josh those 90 minutes?
Yeah, it's vital. It's vital because now we're looking going into Chesterfield and then to MK Dons after that. They're big fixtures because of the next two fixtures, and we want to make sure that all our players are in a position where, when called upon and competing for shirts, they're in the best possible place. And I think with those minutes getting into those lads, and not just Josh, but to the other players that were playing that night as well, we know that whatever side the gaffer puts out against Chesterfield, that we know that at any point the lads are in the best possible place to come on and impact the game as well. So you start looking at the strength of the squad, not just the 11, as a knock-on effect now. So we feel that we're getting into a really strong place.
And a player who came on was Humbles, and obviously at the start of the season he was in that front line maybe for getting into central midfield, but with the competition for places he needs to step up and progress, and I think he did that when he came on.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing when you have a strong squad, that's what it brings. It does bring the competition for places, and it also brings the talent for the younger players, an awareness of what it needs to be to get to that level. And I think with Liam seeing those players coming in, he'll see the quality that they bring. He'll also make him realise what he needs to do. So it's a positive in every scenario. So we're hopeful that he can still kick on and still do well and keep competing for the shirt, which is good. But I think he'll learn a lot from the experience that he's had so far, not just him but the other young boys as well.
Another player who had a good performance, and adding to his Carabao Cup performance a couple of Tuesdays ago, was Tom Edwards, who I thought was really good. And he's slowly developing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Getting that momentum going.
Well, Tom, can't question Tom's quality on the football, because obviously the pedigree that he's got so far in his career. I was fortunate enough to see him work at Fleetwood as well when he had his first loan from Stoke. We know what quality he's got, and I think all that Tom's doing, as he's showing, is just needing to make sure that he keeps on totting up those match minutes and getting match fit. There's a difference in being fit, but obviously match fit's obviously the most important thing. So the more games and more minutes that he can play for us, the more chance that we're going to see the best Tom Edwards. So I think it was a really important game for him to get through the 90 minutes. And that's going to put him in a good place for selection moving forward as well.
And probably the last question regarding the Port Vale game, Dan Chester's his third consecutive start, his third different position. Obviously, I know he wants to play further up the pitch, but he has shown his versatility, hasn't he, the past week?
And I think that was one of the reasons why we wanted to take Dan. Why the gaffer really enjoys working with him, seeing what qualities he has got, because you can rely on what he does, and that such a young lad to have that understanding and that versatility. I know him really well to be like, I know where I want to be, but he'll also give absolutely everything for the club, do everything for the shirt. So with him playing at full back, both sides in the last two fixtures, he's shown his qualities in those areas, and I just think he's a really good player to have. So when he is starting on the top line, we know what he can bring, but also if we do need to adapt in any certain ways, we know that he's someone that we can rely on for that as well. So he's in a good spot, Dan. He's in a good spot. So yeah, we're hoping that he can keep continuing with his performances.
I mentioned moments ago about Port Vale maybe coming at the wrong stage of the season, that game, because as a coaching staff and as a squad, we are chopping and changing from one game to the next at the moment. You do have to focus though on Bradford City and that performance at Valley Parade as we head back into league action this weekend, I feel.
And we were really pleased, really pleased with the performance. We looked solid, we looked connected, we looked compact. I thought we used the ball really well at times. We all know that we need to start being a little bit more creative in that final third and start taking our chances when they fall for us, and I'm sure once that first one goes in, that will really kickstart our ruthlessness in that top area of the pitch. But I think if you just look at the differences from the Port Vale game to the Bradford game, the league games, that we're going into Chesterfield really positive. We're excited for the fixture, looking at the players and what they've done obviously this week. That enhances the squad. So yeah, I think it gives us a really good building block to go to Bradford. And you've got to remember, it's their first league game at home, full house. There was a lot of sort of pressure probably on us to go there, and the expectation from what they'd expect. But I thought we really managed that well, and it was a really good performance to come away from a point there and then kick us in going to Chesterfield.
Goal scoring obviously has been the main headline though in this past opening 4 competitive matches this season. But you've played football long enough, and so have I, to know that it is a cliche, but when that first goal does come, we are playing well.
Yeah, and we're not bothered how it goes in either. I think it's just once we get that first goal, that'll be up and running. But the lads are working hard in training. We're doing everything that we can to make sure we keep getting into those areas, and when it falls to us, we're really hopeful that will then kickstart us moving forward into the next fixtures. And I'm sure once we get that first one, and you don't want to put any pressure on it, it's just a case of when that falls to us, we just got to hit the back of the net. That will kickstart our season in terms of like being ruthless in that final third, because we're getting there really well. You look at the opportunities we've got into those wide areas, into the 1v1 areas, the deliveries that have been coming in, even on Tuesday night with Tom's delivery. You look at Garbs against Bradford, you're looking at it all and just thinking everything's there. We'll just take that next opportunity that comes. Once it does, we'll be on our way then. So yeah, it's just the most important part of the game, isn't it? We've just got to make sure that we start it in the back of the net.
And speaking of goal scorers, we do have to mention Matt Smith has announced he's retiring. I believe so, not just for this club but for a few clubs in the Football League. Just your thoughts on his career and what he added to this place.
Yeah, well, firstly, what a servant to the game he's been. Fantastic playing career, fantastic bloke, and what he did for this football club, especially in that last season, was nothing short of incredible. I think it was 25 goals, I think it was, in his final season. I can't speak highly enough of him. He was good as gold. He's a lovely fella. But what he offered for Salford in his latter stage of his career was, it was incredible. Like his goals, digging deep, doing everything for the badge. Can't speak highly enough of him, and I'm wish him and his family all the best in the next chapter. What they're going to be moving into, but fantastic servant for us, fantastic servant for the game. Had an outstanding career, played at some massive clubs. And we just want to wish him well in his next chapter.